was watching tables. You was waiting. What are we talking about, nigga? I changed your motherfucking life. And you on here lying, talking about some we bully you? That shit got me fucked up, right? You got me fucked up.
Lil Yachty is the problem, but sadly that does not mean that he's wrong. Sadly, in this case, he's actually very right. You know that feeling that you get when the person that you hate is actually correct? Well, the test of a man is whether or not he can stomach giving that credit up. And I'm not no hater, so I won't hesitate to say he is indeed in the right. And further than that, I may have reacted in the same way, given the same circumstances. But all this goes to show is when you fall out of grace of public opinion, everything that you say and do is looked at with a certain tint on it, where no matter what, you are the villain. All just by being associated with the wrong people, saying the wrong thing at the wrong time, or going against somebody that's already publicly loved when they don't love you just the same. Let's talk about it. Just a year ago, everybody was praising Lil Yachty. It was the start of his run, the marketing campaigns he was pushing, the people he was putting on, the artists he was collaborating with, the voices he was making, any and everything. And his association with Drake was definitely a good benefit to that whole experience. But with public opinion turning on Drake, that connection now has become a burden. That same attachment that brought him so much positive feedback also is bringing down his accepted public image. And that's where we start for today. The moment it was cool to not like Drake anymore, everybody that's loosely associated becomes a target. Of course, academics makes himself a target, so nobody really cares about that. But Lil Yachty was just starting to benefit off that Drake association. And now he's forced to pick sides. And he did not do that very well.
I think there's always a pivotal moment, like a moment that's most remembered from beefs, and it's different in every situation. And in this one, it'll definitely be not like us. Shit banging.
He didn't give a fuck.
Really?
No, he was genuinely unfazed. I respected it a lot, and I talked to him. That shit didn't bother him.
Public opinion is very fickle. Your homeboys at war with the world. Either you're with him and you're loyal and you're at war with the world, or you distance yourself, you look unloyal, and all the people that were with you because of him fall off. It's a lose-lose situation, so you tried to play the middle. He tried to do the best he could, but nothing you do is good enough for social media. I think we've been over this. And so, already, Lil Yachty is now changed within the public opinion. That's the first strike of many to come.
He's just a really kind person. He really is. I've never seen someone give like that. Because in reality, bro, outside of the people who care about hip-hop, bro,
nobody gives a fuck
at all. I respected it a lot, and I talked to him. That shit didn't bother him.
But that just laid the foundation. Here's where everything starts to spiral out of control. We talk about this type of situation all the time. You either die a hero or live long enough to see yourself become the villain. Quote from the show Billions that I recently started watching really put that in perspective. It was, they're cheering right now, but believe me, they are dying to boo. And that's just representative of how public opinion has been moving for the past decade or so. On here and on several social media apps for the last year or two, people have been cheering for Yachty and his ability to, 1, market in such creative ways, 2, tap in with the youth, and 3, just continue to make good music. And so it's natural that he's developed a relationship with the people that would allow him to do just that, like YouTubers or Cenat. Before, even Kevin Hart was tuned in and doing ciphers, Lil Yachty was the first one to give them that nod. And outside of NLE Choppa, he probably has the most appearances on a Cenat stream, because that's where he goes to premiere his music, live and in the flesh. He does it a lot with other YouTubers as well, allowing them to have early access. But he does it specifically with Cenat because he knows, 1, his audience is large, and 2, that live reaction usually goes viral. It worked well with the song for him and Ian, it worked with the 1017 A Leak song, and it works in general for other artists that aren't named Lil Yachty. So what does he do? He gives Kai access to play a song that has Drake on it. I don't know whether that came from Drake, I don't know whether he did that to help his mans out, I don't know what it was, but what we do know is the storm that came afterwards. To me, the song cranks. Well, at least Drake's part. But that was not enough to stave off public opinion. Now Drake's fighting off backlash of people saying that he ran to Cenat, like he rapped about in his diss song. Cenat's fighting back allegations of being bought out by Drake to give him good press, good promo. And Lil Yachty's just fighting for being in this situation in the first place. and the fact that his verse wasn't that good. Everybody's losing. And so, add that as another strike against Yachty.
I sent a song to Kai to leak.
Yes, I see this.
Right.
Even further, it comes out that that sample was not cleared by Mr. Hotspot. And with somebody that is beloved in that way, you can't do them wrong. Although that is kind of industry standard. Now, if you're in the industry or you've made music semi-professionally or you've been in any studio, you know the producer is not clearing the sample before they make the beat and they're sending it out. The rapper is not checking the sample before they make the song. So all this happens afterwards. We know we all have to clear it before releasing it, you know. The lawyers are in the room, so I have to say this. You know, we have to clear the songs before releasing it on streaming platforms. But we really don't. Like, sometimes it works for you just to take the lawsuit. Take it from Juice WRLD, Travis Scott, Sean Puffy Combs. But he didn't even do that. He kind of did it the right way. All he did was let it be played, and whether or not it would be cleared is still up to the person who owns it. It would be the same as if he went live while recording the song. At that moment, he wasn't selling it, he wasn't streaming it, and you can't monetize the idea of recording music. What usually happens in this situation is either it leaks and public opinion pressures everybody into letting the song drop, or people don't really care about it. So, no harm, no foul. Nobody's made money off the song. We're all good. But because it's Drake attached, and because, you know, public opinion is not going their way right now it's Yachty's a bad person. Why would he do this? It's so disingenuous. It's actually crazy to me.
Y'all be getting fake mad over crazy behind stuff. Just 3 years ago, somebody took Melodies from Heaven by Kurt Franklin, sampled it, and put it over a strip club joint. And all of y'all was rocking out to it. What was this fake outrage then? Some of your favorite unreleased tracks from your favorite artists is unreleased due to samples not being cleared.
People have actively done this exact strategy before and after Lil Yachty. I think Wolfface Joey is fighting to get this Missy Elliott sample cleared that he's leaked already, or Travis Scott will have to get the samples that were in Days Before Radio replayed or, you know, redone or whatever if they're not getting cleared. And some of my favorite songs from some Joey Badass old tapes had to get replayed just because the samples weren't cleared. In any case, this is not anything new. It's always been done, and Yachty's talking candidly about it because that's what's been accepted for so long. Nobody's been harmed in the leaking of the song. Only thing we got is listeners being able to listen to the music. But with all that, still, that's another mark against Yachty. But here's where it starts to go from you're being treated unfairly to now you're acting out. Because it doesn't matter what people say or do on the internet. You as a public figure are supposed to take that up with your PR team and then speak with your chest and say the right thing. What he does instead is get on IG and be like, you know what? I'm not talking no more, and throws a little tantrum. And of course that didn't fly over well, because why would it? I'm thinking he's gonna, you know, say something with his chest, come off, you know, very direct. Instead he comes off passive aggressive, and that's not a good trait, because then people start to treat you like a bitch. And so, another strike against Yachty.
Shit, I think I'm gone for the rest of the year. I swear to God, I ain't talking. I ain't got shit else to say.
And now we get to the final part of this. Yachty's many friendships and many fallouts. So Yachty kind of has a storied past with falling out with people. Burberry Perry, the whole sailing team, etc., etc. But it's not necessarily public knowledge what occurred there, right? So people like to assume on the internet that since Yachty's the one that made it, he's the one in the wrong, and he must not be that nice of a guy or whatever else. I don't necessarily make character judgments on things that I can't see, right? So I'm never gonna be like, he's the problem there. It could just as well be that everybody that he's fallen out with has been the person that's doing him bad. It's not as likely, but it is possible. The crazier things have happened, and people have a habit of making assumptions based off of information they don't have. And that's just, I think, lying. But we can talk about Mitch and Karrahboo.
I've been nothing but loving and caring and paid your bills and gave you money and took you around the world. And nobody would even know who the fuck Karrahboo was if it wasn't for me.
Backstory here is simple. It seems like an equal exchange. She wanted to be an actor, and he needed a female face for his rap group. He knows 4, semi-ugly guys don't really pull well with women. So he got a female face that he could turn into a star, and she could eventually pursue her acting career. But for whatever reason, Karrahboo falls out with the Concrete Boys. And I, much like I think a lot of us, just thought it was marketing. Like, it just looked so fake. And call me a conspiracy theorist, but a small part of my mind still thinks it is. Like, this won't be the first time, and it definitely won't be the last time, where people will beef on the internet in order to sell records and then eventually get back together. So if they do get back together, let me get my I told you so. Let's come back to this video. But she ends up confiding in somebody at Red Lobster and says the Concrete Boys kicked her out and they've been bullying her and all this other stuff. And behind closed doors, apparently, she's telling people that he owes her money, he's stealing from her, he's doing this and that. And he was not a fan of that at all. And I won't lie, it's a very reasonable stance to take.
You didn't really even have to stick up for me. But to play into it, I would have told her you are Kara Schuster. I'm Karrahboo.
Because before Lil Yachty, there was no Karrahboo. There was a Kara Schuster just running around Atlanta. That doesn't mean she wouldn't have found her way eventually. But in this world that we live in right now, Lil Yachty created everything that she is in public image. So in his shoes, I definitely would understand the irritation at all of the drama surrounding somebody that I tried to give everything to. Now, that doesn't justify how he went about it, and it doesn't really mean that what he said is true or what she said is true. But if you look at it plain black and white, it's what he feels. And we're living in a feelings economy nowadays, right? So his feelings are valid. But in that same rant, he goes further in on Mitch than I would have expected him to for somebody that is his man. So let's dive a little deeper on that situation as well. I'm no expert on their friendship in particular, but I am an expert on male friendships, and I've watched several of the Safe Place podcast episodes, and I can kind of see how their dynamic runs. They do a lot of joking, but a lot of it is pretty serious. Like, they tell real life stories and have serious conversation just in a joking way, right? And I guess the idea that it's a safe place may have been stuck a little bit too much in their minds, because it seems like they're having conversations that I would have with my homeboys just in public.
Imagine if you didn't have a friend who's already extremely successful to help you get on your feet. A lot of people don't have that because you didn't want to get a job.
This clip caused so much outrage from women and soft men on the internet talking about, why would you talk to your homeboy like that? Sometimes your homeboy needs a reality check in the situations that he's trying to put himself in. Like, you were not the guy that you assumed that you are. They try to make it seem like he was showing off for Key Glock or whatever the case is, but it looks to me just like he's calling cap on his homeboy's like nonsense. Like, you say that you would do this, but you've never done this before, right? So who are you to say that you would do this or you would tell somebody to do this? Think about your real life, and that was the end of that. And it should have just ended there. But there's several problems here. One, when you have candid conversations with your homeboys and you're on camera, it's open to interpretation no matter how you look at it. So even if you're at home in your safe space, it's not really a safe space. And I think this is the first time they've finally figured out that it's not. Like, that may be a conversation that y'all have regularly, like, yo, bro, stop lying. But you can't have that in public or else people think that you're showing off for the hoes. Sorry. And honestly, me personally, I wouldn't have said it like that in the first place, but it would have all been better if he would have just corrected the situation. But come on, correcting the situation, that's the right thing to do. Why would I do that? Now here's where both of those situations compound. The Karrahboo Red Lobster bullying thing breaks the day before his birthday. So on the night of his birthday celebration, what does he do? Birthday blues got him on IG, crashing out. And here's where he throws away all the good grace that I gave him.
Take the phone away from this nigga.
I say, Mitch, how the fuck you didn't go on the internet and tell these folks that we playing, bro?
But again, the feeling behind it is still justified. Where he's coming from is, why, if you know me, do I have to get on the internet and defend myself and you can't do it, right? He's talking to his homeboys. Or why is Karrahboo on the internet talking crazy about me and I gave her everything? But to the world, it just looks like, counting favors, which was kind of the topic of conversation in the first place. So he's just digging the hole a little bit deeper. Now it's hashtag no Yachty every time you do something for somebody and you don't want to rub it in their face. The feelings of betrayal behind it are valid. You can just tell he's not that good at handling situations like this, which is crazy for a guy that has a PR team. There's one thing I gotta say, go reinvest into your PR team. In any case though, still in the right, at least to me. But he just gotta handle this type of shit better. Because actually, the more talented you are, the more you do for other people, the more famous, the more rich you are, the more you're required by other people to be humble. And if you don't like being humble, they're gonna try to find a way to make you humble. And you probably won't like that one either.